It's just the amount of receipt that I've got from that I've made here.
It is, I have imagined.
I was absolutely hopeless when we started the course, and the process that you go through is absolutely amazing.
I learned how to structure for my training, my workshops, what I'll be doing from now on.
Now, just to tell you, I was 14 years old and left school because I didn't want to speak in front of the class. I leave here today, overcoming that fear.
It's given me my confidence back. It's enabled me to get back up on stage.
You're going to become more powerful, clearer in your message, on point, and you're going to feel like you're part of a tribe.
You can't miss it. This is a total investment in you and your future.
And if you are considering coming along, do not hesitate. The transformation from day to day truly is incredible.
If you're looking to get your message out, I highly recommend that you join Sam and the team for their boot camp.
Powerful, spectacular.
Incredible.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Amazing journey.
You've got to come, you've got to be here.
Try them, honestly, it'll change your life.
What if I told you that there is a place where you can dream big? A place where you can learn how to be an influencer. A place where you can collaborate with others. What if I told you that there is a group of people just like you? A group that's committed to make a positive impact. A group that believes in what's possible for the future. What if I told you that we can help you make a difference? We can arm you with the right tools to never be underpaid, undervalued, and underrecognized. What if I told you that you can join today, like right now? It's time to make a difference. It's time to shine. This is Speakers Tribe.
One thing that I want to acknowledge you about is investing in yourself and ultimately spending time in online education. If you can learn how you can influence more powerfully through video, if you can learn how to create like your online virtual product and even make money online right now, then I'd love to help you through that journey as well.
To all the staff from Speakers Institute, you guys have been really supportive and really, really lovely and encouraging. But to everybody else, for all of your honesty and your courage for stepping up here and just giving all, because I've learned so much from every single one of you and it's just been really, really good.
I just wanted to say, being out of the workforce for 6 years, looking after little kids, and this is the first course I've ever done. And it was astounding. It blew my mind. It was beyond my expectations. And thank you, Kate, for the feedback today. That was brilliant. And it's given me the confidence to have that before, because, you know, when you leave for a while and you come back, it's all a bit dodgy. So thank you.
Sam, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That has been absolutely awesome. I've learned a hell of a lot today, and I really feel like we're all improving. So thank you so much. It's been really awesome.
I wish everyone all the best on the course. I think it's a wonderful course. And Sam, you've created an amazing business, but I also want to congratulate the people you've got working underneath you, because it wouldn't be that great if you didn't have all this wonderful resource. And I congratulate them for supporting you. It's excellent.
I'd actually just like to thank Sam and the team so much for everything you've done, but I'd really like to thank everybody else. I have learnt so much from all of you. It's just been so exhilarating. I'm so excited for each and every one of you, because it's just the growth in such a short space of time has been phenomenal. So thank you all very, very much.
Have you ever felt that the world was moving so fast you couldn't keep up? Hi, I'm Dory Connor, and I came along to the Speakers Institute to learn more about myself and stage presence. The whole world is changing, whether it's politics, whether it's technology, whether it's business. Wherever you look, everything is changing and fear is prevalent. Now for some, they can deal with it, and for others, it is paralysing.
You are beautifully placed right now. Your message, your DNA, and this message to the world. The world is calling upon you to get this message out there and go out there and make more of a difference. There are stages in the world that are waiting for you to claim.
What I got here was so much more. I met some amazing people. I was inspired by their stories, and this all came out over a weekend at the Speakers Institute.
Welcome to Speakers Tribe TV, and on this amazing Monday, wherever you are in the world, thank you so much for tuning in. You know, here at Speakers TV, all we want to do is to really help you on this journey to be a recognised influencer, to upgrade your speaking skills. And that's exactly what we have in store for this episode. Guys, we are super excited about Speakers TV because not only are we bringing to you some of the best speakers, trainers to really help you to upgrade your skill set in speaking, but also we really want to help you on your journey. And wherever you are in the world, thank you so much for tuning in here on this amazing Monday. Why not start Monday with learning from the best in the world? Because that's exactly what we'll bring to you. And my encouragement to you, if you haven't already, make sure you join us on any of our social media, Speakers Institute, Speakers Tribe, Speakers TV. It's all on there. We cannot wait to hear how this episode has really helped you and impacted your life. To your success, welcome to episode Monday. So our very first speaker this morning, super excited about this speaker because Rebecca Tapp, she worked very closely with Julie Masters. So many of you guys were pretty much saying that Julie Masters was the highlight for yesterday. And not only that, Rebecca's also worked very closely with Anders Sorman-Nielsen as well. Some of you guys were also saying that Anders obviously was a highlight from yesterday. So one thing I love about Rebecca is not only has she been in this space for many years, but her and Julie were really the cornerstones that got many speakers into the international speaking market, etc., including me. And so she was assigned to be my person that really helped, mentored, coached me when I first flew up from Tasmania to go on to the international speaking circuit, and then I suppose the rest was history. One thing I also love about Rebecca is that she's got her hands and her fingers in many different pies, from bureaus to agencies to now management, etc. But one thing that she's done absolutely beautifully was to identify the speakers that have worked really well in the marketplace and why. And she found out that these speakers have a depth and an understanding of purpose that no one else really has. And so this morning, she's going to come up here and decode exactly what purpose is. So yeah, that's really cool. And by the way, I haven't even finished the intro. So I am going to intro like this. Are you ready? You ready? Watch this. Are you ready? Tell me something, girl. Are you happy in this modern world? Or do you need more? Is there something that you're looking for?
Tell me something, boy. Are you tired of trying to fill that void? Or do you need more? Ain't it hard keeping it so hardcore?
Give her a hand!
Good morning, everyone. How are you all? What is it to step from the shallows into the abyss? to pursue a life of meaning. Today, I am feeling so grateful to be standing on this stage, because today we get to ask on this stage some deeply profound questions. In fact, we even get to sing some deeply profound questions. Thank you, Sam, wherever you've gone. Woohoo! Questions that in asking them enable us to go on a journey into our potential, a journey into our future selves, a journey into the creation of the future of you. And that's why we're all here today, right? Some of you might have seen the Oscars on Monday night, yes, no? If you did, you would have seen Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper perform the hit song Shallow. It's a song I certainly love, and I think most of the world also loves that song, given it won Best Song at the Oscars and has won multiple awards this year. And I think the reason this song really connects to the heartstrings is because it asks some of those profound questions. What does it mean to pursue fulfillment in our lives? What is it to crave love? What is it to look for purpose, to have a need to activate purpose and decode purpose? My journey into purpose began in 2015, and if you'd asked me about it at the time, I probably would have told you it was the most devastating period in my life. As it turns out, it ended up being the most transformational period in my life. I went through a personal crisis that really asked me to begin to strip away the walls, all of the structures that I thought identified me, that I thought was a roadmap for my future self. And quite literally, the rug was pulled from under my feet at that moment in time. And it was pretty devastating. I'm not going to say it wasn't a painful experience. But what ended up happening at that time, as the sun began to rise again in my life, I started to ask a question. Do you need more? Is that the kind of thing you're searching for? For me, that thing was purpose. I needed to create a vision for my future self at that time. I needed to see my potential. I needed to lean into what was possible and then take the action, step into the transformation required to become my future self, to become that girl, because that was what was going to pull me through. That is what was going to build resilience, and in that exploration, I was going to transform to discover who I really was. Oops. So purpose. Let's start with the definition. Now, purpose is the reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. Now, the definition seems pretty simple, right? The explanation is far more complex. And the truth is, a lot of people are really quite confused about what purpose is. I'm going to start with a little bit of myth busting. See, a lot of people believe that purpose starts with why. I'm going to tell you, I don't think purpose starts with why at all. And I have two reasons for that. Firstly, when we think about this concept of asking why, we're actually looking to the past. And I believe that that purpose itself exists in the future. So when we look to the past, we ask, why did I act a certain way? Why do I feel a certain way? Why did I do that? And in that moment, we're looking to the past. We want to be looking to the future when we lean into purpose, because the future is what's going to propel us forward. The other thing about why is, you can ask a disengaged worker why they go to work, and they might come up with 20 million reasons why they go to work, and none of them might have anything to do with meaning, but they're all perfectly valid reasons. And I think that's the other part of asking why, is sometimes you can come up with 20 answers to why. And there's nothing wrong with that, but what we're really looking for in this conversation is clarity of purpose. We want clarity over confusion. And the truth is, a lot of people are really confused. Let's start looking at leadership. I was reading a report by Harvard Business Review titled The Business Case for Purpose. And in this report, it claimed that whilst 90% of leaders knew that purpose was good for business, knew that purpose was good for the bottom line, only 46% of those leaders actually implemented purpose-driven business strategy. That leaves an astounding 54% of leaders who, whilst knowing that purpose is good for business, have no idea how to identify or how to integrate a purpose-driven business strategy. I don't believe that purpose starts with why, because if it did, we would have all worked out what purpose was about. I believe that purpose starts with a what. What do you do? How do you contribute today? And how are you going to contribute tomorrow? What does that future look like? And if you're able to get clarity on the what, well, the why becomes pretty obvious after that. Larry Fink. Has anyone in the room heard of who Larry Fink is? Yes? So Larry Fink is the CEO of BlackRock. And for those of you who don't know, BlackRock is a global investment management firm. In fact, they have something like 5.98 trillion in assets. So as you can imagine, they have a huge global network of CEOs. And every year, the CEO of BlackRock actually creates a public letter that he sends out to all of these CEOs. Now, in this year's letter, Larry Fink titled the letter Purpose and Profit. And what he said is, purpose is not the sole pursuit of profits, but the animating force for achieving them. To add a little bit more weight to Larry's perspective, I was reading the Deloitte Millennial Report, and in that report, it claimed that 75% of millennials do not believe that business cares about social impact or the community. Now, what I find truly astounding about this fact is that we know the millennials are the most purpose-driven generation to ever exist, and that they're as big as the boomers. We know this. In fact, they make up 35% of today's global workforce. Now, I just want to bring this back into the room for a minute. As Sam let you guys know, I've been in this industry for 15 years. So I really understand the power every single person has in this room to become the leaders of leadership, to be the influencers of those who influence, and the inspirers of those who inspire. If you're wanting to step into the corporate speaking industry, the professional speaking industry, then you better get your head around purpose pretty quickly, because we have a whole generation, 35% of today's workforce, who are purpose-driven. So if you're going to be educating leaders in corporate organisations, then you need to come on this journey with me and decode purpose along with me. Now, I've just listed off a whole bunch of metrics that connect meaning in the workplace, and there are millions of them out there. But in a conversation about purpose, meaning trumps metrics every single time. And if we're going to be looking at these statistics, then we have to ask the question, what is the true cost of staying in the shallows? 45% of Australians suffer a mental health condition, be it depression or anxiety. 200 people every single day, that is twice the size of this room, 200 people attempt to commit suicide and 8 succeed. That little face is my baby girl, Tiger Lily. She's now 10 months old. For 9 months, she grew inside me. And over the last 10 months, she has brought me more infinite joy, more infinite happiness, and more unconditional love than I could ever begin to express to you guys in this room today. It devastates me to think 8 mothers and 8 fathers lose their baby They lose their child every single day. Now, I'm not claiming to be an expert on mental health, and in fact, if you do need to speak to an expert, you will see the Beyond Blue website at the bottom of this slide. What I do hope is that one day we all truly understand how significant our lives are. That we really understand what it is to have meaning in our lives and what it is to impact another life. That if we could lean into that, if we could lean into the infinite possibility of love, of loving ourselves and loving the people around us, that I hope that one day we can bring this metric back to zero. So there are actually 4 types of purpose, but today I'm going to talk about what's called integrated purpose. Now, integrated purpose is another word for personal purpose. The best way I can describe to you integrated purpose is, again, to use an example of my little girl Tiger Lily, who's currently learning to walk. Now, it is really quite incredible to see this little thing continue to get up. And she gets up again, and then she'll smash her head on something, and then she'll get up again, and she'll try again, and then she'll have another bruise. And, you know, I'm constantly picking her up off the ground. But somehow there is like this innate force within her that just knows that she needs to keep getting up. She needs to keep moving, and that her future self is dependent on her ability to walk. My point is, purpose is inside of us. It's in our biology. It's our DNA. Now, I've been practicing this all week, deoxyribonucleic acid. Got it out there. So deoxyribonucleic acid is the life molecule that contains our genetic code. Now, at this point in time, you might be wondering what could possibly be similar about DNA and purpose. Actually, there's quite a lot. The first thing is DNA, as we all know, is inherited. So is purpose. What we inherit is our values, our culture, our belief system, and all of these attributes will inform how we engage with purpose. Secondly, DNA and purpose are influenced by the environment. Now, we all know that DNA evolves based on environmental stimulus. That's why we have survival of the fittest. Purpose is also something that responds to proximity. I know you guys speak about proximity a lot, especially the proximity in this room. Proximity, place, all of these things in our environment, in the present moment, will be informing our purpose. Thirdly, now I like this one. Purpose and DNA are both what I call interdimensional. It's a pretty cool word. So interdimensional is basically where our purpose can exist in something even though we have left whatever that is. So to give you a few examples, if we look at this through the lens of DNA, we all know that we pass on our DNA to our child. Now, we might pass away, but our DNA still continues to exist in our child. If we look at this through the lens of purpose, what we have is the creation of legacy. So we might have worked in a job and no longer work there, but our purpose still exists in our job. Our legacy still exists. We might have built a business that we left. The purpose still exists. Some of you might have heard of an artist by the name of Vincent van Gogh. Here's a cool fact. He only sold one painting while he was alive. About 30 years after he died, someone found something like 30 of his paintings in a back room, which are today worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. Really good example of interdimensional purpose. The other thing with DNA and purpose is this idea that DNA is a unique code. So is purpose. Purpose is a unique code, it's a unique fingerprint, and it's influenced by so many things that are deeply personal to our life experience. Today, I'm going to break down this concept of DNA into what I call the human code for meaning. So what we have is, firstly, one, decision. The choice we make to live a life of purpose. I believe that purpose is a choice. Secondly, we have narrative. Now, narrative is the story we tell ourselves about what we do, how we contribute, and the story that we tell the world. Finally, we have alignment. And this is our ability to live the story that we tell about purpose. Let's start with the decision. Now, anyone that I have met, and I know some incredible people who live a life of purpose, do so because they choose to do so. I think there definitely is a little bit of a myth out there that someday we'll discover our purpose or we'll find our purpose. Sorry guys, it's time to get conscious about the pursuit of purpose and make a decision to pursue meaning in your life. Maslow, in 1943, developed the Maslow hierarchy of needs, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard of. And at the top of that hierarchy is self-actualization. And the way Maslow framed it was that a man must be what he can be. And it's about a man or woman's pursuit to reach their potential. What he didn't know is a woman must be what she can be, and she usually already is. That's why we get to celebrate International Women's Day on Friday. Happy International Women's Day to the ladies in the room. So I know you all heard Jules speak yesterday. She's pretty awesome, isn't she? So I've been blessed to work on and off with Jules for probably around 15 years now. And at the moment, we're working on a little project together known as the Inside Influence podcast. And I'm lucky enough to produce that podcast with Jules. So I get like sneak previews of the episodes before you guys all get to hear them. And in about 2 weeks, there's an episode coming out with a neuroscientist by the name of Bo Lotto. And I have a bit of a crush on Bo Lotto. So when I was listening to this episode, Bo spoke about what's called the equatorial zone. So in biology, the equatorial zone is the space in between. So Bo described it so beautifully when he said it's the space between the land and the sea, or it's the space on the edge of the forest. When I was flying in this morning, there was, I don't know if any of you flew in and looked down, but it's where the river meets the ocean, and I saw all the surfers bobbing there this morning, which was beautiful. To explain it simply, you'll see this butterfly up here. Now, we all know for a butterfly to become a butterfly, it first must be a caterpillar. And in the middle, it goes into the cocoon. So we can see this cocoon as being the equatorial zone, and this is a pretty magical space. It's a space of transformation. And to view this through the lens of purpose, if we truly want to live a life of purpose, if we truly want to become the butterfly, if we want to step into our potential, into the possibilities, we need to get comfortable with the equatorial zone. Now, I'm not saying the equatorial zone is a particularly easy place to be. In fact, often when we make the greatest changes, we do so because we have had to build resilience in that process. Now, if you think about being in this cocoon, it's pretty dark, it's sticky in there. I don't know I'm becoming a butterfly yet. But in time, we do in fact become the butterfly. The equatorial zone is a space of alchemy, and I believe this transformational process is at the heart of purpose. Stories are a communal currency of humanity. So narrative, this is the story we tell ourselves about our contribution in the world, and it's also the story that we tell others. Jules might have mentioned yesterday that storytelling is the way that we are able to activate empathy with our audience, and in doing so, the audience are then inspired to take action from that empathy. So the ability to be able to get clear on your own on-purpose story and then to share that story with others is actually at the heart of influence, which is something that you should all be very aware of going into the speaking industry. So I want to give you 3 quick tips with regards to storytelling. To use the DNA example, if my genes say my eyes are blue, which they're not, but if they did, then my eyes are blue. When we're crafting a story of purpose, we must ensure that story is true. Now, I can go buy coloured contact lenses, but you're going to know it's fake. You need to ensure that you can live, that you can walk your story of purpose. Secondly, you need to ensure that your story of purpose is credible. In order to gauge credibility, you need to look to the past. What are my tools? What are my talents? What have I spent time doing in my life? Now, I wouldn't ever be able to say that my purpose statement is I'm going to inspire people with the most beautiful piano, because I can't actually save a piano to save myself. It's just not credible. Your narrative needs to have credibility built into its blueprint. Finally, purpose has the innate ability to tell a story of what's possible in the future. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about purpose is it's a future blueprint. It holds the key to the future of you. I was reading an article about an actress called Nicole Nichols, and she played Lieutenant Uhura in Star Trek. And at that particular time, she was wanting to leave the cast. Martin Luther King actually asked her not to leave the cast because he believed she represented a future where a woman would be judged by her character, not her colour. Purpose tells a story of what's possible tomorrow. Finally, we have alignment. Now, alignment is the ability to form an alliance, to come into agreement. A really beautiful word I've used to describe alignment is congruency. So I have come up with something that I call the purpose quotient, to be able to capture this idea of what it is to feel congruent, to be able to gauge whether you're on purpose or off purpose in any given moment. So the purpose quotient is something, in order to describe this, I've actually stolen a few notes from the science sector. So we actually have three brains. We have the cognitive brain, we have the heart brain, and we have the gut brain. Now, we've just spoken about narrative. So our cognitive brain is where we form a story of purpose. It's where we get intentional. It's where we make decisions. If we come down to the heart, we move into what I call heart intelligence. Did you know that the heart actually has neurons that can think and feel and do? And in fact, the heart sends more messages to the brain than the other way around, which I think is extraordinary. So how do we begin to read heart energy? And I think we really need to begin to tune into our body at that point in time. So think about a time where you've been off purpose. What you'll find is your shoulders hunch. Your breath will become shallow. You may feel a sense of heaviness. You may feel a depression. Opposed to experiencing a time where you're on purpose and your whole posture will change. You will take a deeper breath. You'll feel a sense of lightness, a sense of joy and expansion. And in doing so, you will be able to connect. You'll connect with yourself. You'll connect with the people around you. You'll connect with the community and the planet at large. The heart is an extraordinary measure of purpose. Finally, if we move down into the gut and the brain are connected by what's called the vagus nerve. So I'm sure there would be some TENx speakers in the room right now who are feeling butterflies in the stomach, yeah? That is your vagus nerve in action. I personally think that one of the most underutilised tools when it comes to working out whether we're on purpose or off purpose is gut instinct. We've all been at a crossroad in our lives, at a point where we need to make an important decision. And it's in those moments that sometimes logic doesn't have the answer. We actually need to tune in. We need to feel into whether we're on purpose or off purpose, and our gut will tell us if we give it space to be heard. Finally, I'm not here today to define purpose for you. I'm here to provide you with a code, DNA, in order to begin to define purpose for yourself. What I believe purpose to be is a truly magical and transformational process. It's an energy in motion. It exists in the present moment. It's what inspires you to take action to become your future self, to step into your potential, and to ultimately become the butterfly that you're here today to all be. Thank you.
Ah, very good.
Coming to me.
Ah, you're amazing. Thank you so much. We'll get our chairs up here.
We'll get chairs.
If that's
Let's
okay.
sit down.
Very good. Absolutely amazing. And guys, we're just going to have a very quick 5-minute chat here because I really want to unpack exactly where this all started for you as well and your journey. Because obviously, you know, 15 years ago, you came into a brand new market, brand new space, and you didn't quite know exactly. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So by the way, amazing talk. Come on, let's give it another round of applause. Hey, woo, 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 we love you. So when you first came into this industry, you know, 15 years ago, here you are managing speakers and, you know, helping speakers to get out there in the international speaking circuit, etc. What really helped you to love about this industry sector in general? Seeing speakers, seeing them released onto the stages of the world, etc. What did you love about that and helping us do that?
Yeah, so I've thought about this question quite a lot recently, and I think what it is, you know, as you know, I've worked with some of the most incredible thought leaders, influencers all over the world, and these are people who were all incredibly smart, successful, had profile, had all of those things, and I was like, well, what is it about them that really stands out for me? And what it is what creates influence is significance. Significance is such a powerful anchor, and it's to define significance. Significance is what it is to be important in the world. And I think it's important to define significance as separate from ego.
Yeah.
Significance is importance opposed to ego, which is self-importance. And people can sometimes get that confused. And a part of the journey into purpose is about stepping into your significance and giving yourself permission to be significant. So that was something that I really observed in, yes, these incredibly successful people, but that wasn't actually what made them influential. What made them influential was that they stepped into their significance and their lives really mattered to the people that they touched, the audiences that they touched.
Absolutely. And I could not agree with you more. Yeah. You know, and I love this pivot now that you're in where, you know, now obviously you are currently an agent for a couple of the real top tier speakers, etc. But also obviously this journey now with this message and this message to the world. What's next for you, Beck? Because I'm really interested.
What's next for me? So look, I have 3 hats at the moment. Obviously, decoding purpose is really at the heart of my mission. You know, I really feel that that's my journey moving forward. If I was to snapshot the future of me, this is where I really want to dedicate my energy, whether that be through speaking or the Decoding Purpose podcast. That said, I also have my foot in the ground with Future Crunch, and we're doing some incredibly exciting things.
So very quick one. What is Future Crunch?
So Future Crunch...
Catch this, guys. This is cool.
Yeah, Future Crunch was founded by a guy called Dr. Angus Harvey and Tane Hunter. And basically, the group consists of digital experts, technologists, scientists. And so the guys started out because they wanted to craft a message about the future, you know, obviously presenting on future trends. But what they did that was brilliant was really flip the narrative that if we're going to deliver presentations on future trends, we're going to deliver a narrative of optimism and let people know that the future is so much better than we think it is. Because we can make one of 2 choices about technology, about life, even about our mindset. We can choose to be optimistic with the best is yet to come.
Right, absolutely.
Or we can choose doom and gloom. We can choose to be fearful of technology and AI and Bitcoin and all of these things. Or we can actually harness these things as an opportunity and realise that the future is bright. There are amazing things happening on this planet.
Come on, that's cool. Future is bright. Yeah.
And
so that's the second thing
Future
you're doing,
Crunch.
Future Crunch, yeah?
Yeah, so we're at this point in time building up our facilitator team and really looking to reach as many audiences as we can.
Very good. So that was the second hat, and the third, did you say there was a third hat?
Oh, look, the third
Mum?
hat. Well, the third, yeah, Mum. No, the third hat, I mean, as I said, I produce Jules's podcast, and I also look after some of Jules's speaking business.
Yeah.
So that's a part of it, and my consulting as well. So I do wear a lot of hats, with Mum being the most important one.
And one question I love asking, you know, I suppose all our speakers is, what do you do for you to recharge your tank? You know, we're always giving. You give so much of your time to other people and here, there, everywhere. What do you do for you, Beck, to recharge your tank?
Yeah, it's funny because I tuned into Facebook yesterday just as you asked Jules this
Oh,
question,
really?
and I was so keen to hear her answer. And because of that, I thought about what I was going to say. I was reading a book called Winging It by Emma Isaacs, the founder of Business Chicks. And in that book, she spoke about life being kind of like 4 hot plates. And sometimes you need to turn one up and turn the other one down. I don't think there really is such thing as balance. When you're doing as much as I'm doing and you're a new mum, there's not much space in between. You just need to kind of work out which hot plate to burn and which one to rest. So if I'm working a lot and I've got a period where I'm on the go, well, that's what I'm doing. But as long as I kind of later on make that space to have a quieter week, then then I'll do that. But I think the other part of it, particularly in a conversation about purpose, is self-care and actually making the space to tune into your energy is actually a part of the purpose journey. You know, so it's not even so much about going, oh, this is my self-care time. Actually, if I really want to be on purpose, if I really want to be seen, if I really want to step into my potential, then I need to nurture and look after this life force that is coming through me.
Love it, ladies and gentlemen, this is Rebecca Tapp.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Please.
Share, I mean, how good the feeling was after completing the session, and I think the feedbacks were just too good. So I mean, that is forcing me to think beyond. I think it was pretty linear thinking earlier, and now it is pretty diversified. So that is very helpful.
Thank you, Charlene, Christiane and Sam, for obviously the benefit and the inspiration you've given to so many of us, and to all the participants, because I think for me personally, this is the first time I've felt that I've been in such a safe space to be vulnerable and to make mistakes. And I know that a lot of us have shared some really traumatic events in our life, possibly for the first time publicly. So that's just been a really huge thing. So thank you for everyone for opening up and for people to open up and be authentic.
I'd like to firstly acknowledge you, Sam. Thank you so much for instituting the Speakers Institute and all of the lovely people who've attended today. I think they've done an absolutely wonderful job. I think all of their stories are worthy of stage presence. I think you'll all go very far.
I just wanted to say, being out of the workforce for 6 years, looking after little kids, and this is the first course I've ever done, and it was astounding. It blew my mind. It was beyond my expectations. And thank you, Kate, for the feedback today. That was brilliant, and it's given me the confidence to back myself, because I didn't have that before. Because you know, when you leave for a while and you come back, it's all a bit dodgy. So thank you.
And it was really an experience which I was looking for, to give that push, the last push which is needed, because I'm very low on execution. So your story and your message gave me that push which I really needed. So thank you very much, and also to the fellow participant for bearing with me.
Thank you, everyone. You've all inspired me today, and I want to thank you, Sam, for putting this on, and Christiane and Charlene inspired me to come through conversations we had, and so I'd like to thank her in particular, and got a lot out of it. So thank you, everyone, and thanks for all the lovely comments.
My name is Sarah Cordiner, and
A long time ago, I was one of the proteges. Now, back then, I had absolutely no idea where I was going to go. I was an expert in my field, but I was working very much in the corporate space. I also had no followers on any social media accounts. I had no email list. I had no people anywhere on a database that was out there in the public market. But I knew that I needed and wanted to get out, get online, and make a difference to the world. And I knew that the only way I'd be able to do that is to go out and start speaking, putting myself out there as an individual. And it was really confronting because there's all these kind of things that we go through. Will people like me? Will people engage with me? Will anyone even care about what I have to say? Will people mock me? Will people criticize me? Will I be torn down by my competitors or trolls? So I had all of these worries, like everyone else does, not knowing where I was going to start. You know, do I start with the logo, the website, the message, the thing, the branding, the story? It's all very, very overwhelming. So I want to reassure you guys that I was absolutely there. After going on Sam's program, I have gone on to win multiple awards. I have now got over 20,000 students in 146 countries. I have been listed by the Huffington Post as one of the top 50 must-follow female entrepreneurs. I've published 12 books, 5 of which have gone to international #1 bestseller. I recently was headhunted by a university and now hold the record for being the youngest university director in Australian history. And I have done all of this from working in the spare bedroom in my house. I now have a multi-million-dollar education company with children running around. And one of the things that I really want to make clear to other people is that everyone can do this. Every single person. I had no special starting point. I had no investors. I've never had anyone give me money. I absolutely have just started on the corner of a kitchen table with nothing but a dream, a drive, and an ambition. And that is the only thing you need to get started.
Sam Cawthon here, CEO and founder of Speakers Institute. If you give me 60 seconds of your time, I'll show you how to set up an online webinar in 48 hours while growing your authentic followers to tens of thousands, and then teach you how to package your IP so they buy your programs online using what we call influence on video. What this means is you talk to camera, share your value, and then stack your offerings and create urgency in a way that makes it so irresistible that they click the button and purchase your high ticket sale. Talk with any of our clients globally, and I promise you will not find anyone that does what we do. All you have to do is to create an online event, share your ideas, and then stack your offerings just like this. And here's the big secret. Everyone is online right now searching for people just like you to help them learn things that you already know. There are people doing it right now, but they probably don't know as much as you. So right now is your chance to learn how to sell online, and my influence on video formula is easy to use and foolproof for anyone to master. Just recently, I did a 1.5 hour video online to only 40 people, and at the end, 10 of them bought my $4,000 product, all by one click of the button. It was seamless. So if you want me to show you how to influence on video, stack your offerings that make it irresistible, learn my exact script so you can come across authentic and real, and create urgency so then they buy immediately, then click on the link below and join my free masterclass.
I always wanted to be a speaker. For too long, when I go up on stage and people might be laughing at me, it's not because I'm a comedian, but always I didn't shine on the stage. I failed. And there's one moment in my life people start to boo at me because I wasn't able to deliver my speech. I have a great content, but my delivery failed. Along the way, I realized that being a speaker is not about bringing out the best content in you. It's about delivery, it's about your method of how you do the sharing, how you connect to the audience emotionally, and how you can able to deliver your message to the audience. So I got myself into a proximity, and I got myself a coach to mentor me along the way. And today I've spoken many stages which are beyond my expectation. All these things may not happen if I didn't go through the process. So guys, my encouragement to you is find the right mentor, right proximity, right training program, and you'll be able to share your knowledge and your message to the world.
This is Celebrity Authority Show. Please welcome your host, Sam Cawthorn.
So welcome here to another episode of Celebrity Authority. We have Lee Barker here, all the way from southeast Queensland. Lee, you've actually got a farm up there in southeast Queensland. Tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
I'm a teacher of 40 plus years, and I was brought up on a farm, and I wanted to have my own, and I have.
Wow.
I have stud cattle that I used to show, but probably get back into showing again. And I grow trees, and I've started some small cropping, so it's all good fun.
Wow. Hey, what do you mean by stud cattle? Does that mean they out there for show? And
They are. Most of my cows are all ex-show cattle, so they don't mind walking up to you and getting a scratch, and they'll take feed out of your hands without any trouble at all.
It's really fascinating. Like show cattle, which means you go out there and you present them to the world and say, my cattle are better looking than your cattle. Is that right?
All of that, yes. You've got, you don't get much of a chance to be able to show off your cattle, so they've got to be able to stand properly, and some cattle don't naturally stand properly. So it's a big challenge, but once they love you, they'll do just about anything for you.
That's great. So 40 years in education, mate. Yeah. That's a long feat. Well, what are some of the highlights? What's one thing that you absolutely love about education, Lee?
Making a difference to young people and seeing them going on and blooming in their life and achieving lots of stuff. I mean, everybody's got their own view of what an achievement might be. My parents said, you've got to get an education, get a degree, and then you'll be set. It's not quite as simple as that, but if you can do what you want to do and your gut tells you that you love it, what's wrong with that?
And then provided that with the right teachers and proximity around you.
Absolutely. You got the right people setting the right example for you, and you absorb all that, you can only do well.
Now, look, everyone's got their own opinion towards teachers. Some people sort of say, "Oh, look, teachers they've got it quite easy. They only, they have 9 weeks off a year holiday and all that." Then on top of that, there's so many opinions out there in the marketplace with the teacher. What would you say qualifies a good quality teacher compared to some of the others?
Well, a teaching job is never 9 to 3. Because you're thinking about it when you first wake up in the morning, and luckily in my more experience I've usually left all the difficult things behind by the time I've got home, so then I can concentrate on family. But it's something that you're thinking about all the time. I mean, you might be marking papers into the early hours of the morning, or you could be just researching, trying to find a new angle on something that you've been teaching for years, and that might mean hours on the computer. So you can't quantify those hours. You do what's necessary, and it might take quite a while, and weekends and holidays. What a laugh.
and Lee, look, it is quite extraordinary. You've been doing this now for 40 years. Look, for most people out there, once you do it for 5 years or 10 years, you want to move on to a new career, or you want to do something different. But not you. From what I can see and what I hear, you're still passionate about teaching. You still love teaching. You love mentoring and helping young kids. What's been that inner drive for you of why you're still showing up to work, passionate and enthusiastic, after 40 years of doing the same thing?
Well, I mean, the body gets older and all the pains sort of increase as time goes on physically, but mentally I'm just as focused as I ever was. I always wanted to be a teacher because I had an absolute bottler in my first year at school.
Oh, you're going to tell me that. What do you mean, an absolute bottler in your first year of school?
She was totally inspirational. I just loved her. I thought she was absolutely wonderful. And I hung on every word she said. And she was an older person, but she had an effect on me that's lasted a lifetime.
Isn't that amazing?
And I want to do the same.
Yeah, and I'm sure you have been doing the same. I also believe that you do some mentoring as well. So this
Yeah.
is more one-on-one rather than classroom.
Yeah.
What would you say would be the difference between a student in a classroom compared to a student that actually gets your one-on-one attention?
Well, because they usually choose that.
Mm.
Whereas in your classroom, they might not be there by choice, or they don't want to pay attention by choice. But one-on-one mentoring, they just can't escape your influence because it's you, and they want to be there. If they want to be there, then you've got your first tick.
Mm. And would you say that this is what this next generation of young kids need? It's hard to think though that they all going to now get one-on-one mentoring, or is it more of a buddy system and role play? Like how would you suggest to raise up this new generation of millennials, or Gen Zs, or whatever we're calling them nowadays? How would you suggest how we can help them to continue to be on this journey of education most of their life?
Well, we've really got to not just consider their physical well-being, but also their mental well-being. If they have the mental resources and the resilience to be able to cope with all the challenges that come along in life, then they'll make the best of their life. But if they struggle with those things, they're not going to get far. And unfortunately, we will miss them because they'll fall by the wayside. And that's such a shame when you can see potential in someone that's got difficulties, and if you can just say the right things, give them the best advice, they might just deviate a little and get away from what's holding them back. So that little deviation might be just your interference in what's happening to them at the time.
So how would you say, for those people out there, whether they're parents or teachers or even people that are exposed to young people, how do you identify that in a young person, and then what are some of the best things to say to someone that is disengaged from their education system?
Well, for you to be able to be a successful person, you've got to have a handle around your self-esteem, what makes you tick. And you have to foster that self-esteem. You can't rely on someone else to do that for you. You've got to do it. So that might mean if something comes along that's disturbing or a distraction that is giving you grief, then you've got to find some way of diverting from that. It might mean you've just got to find a little toolkit of activities that will help you survive. And that might mean 2 minutes being distracted with something that you like doing. And that might just make the pain go away or lessen. So being able to manage your emotional pain, we all have it, we all get it, varying degrees. Being able to do that means that you're going to be a healthier person. So a healthier person, you'll feel good about yourself. If you feel good about yourself, you're not going to put yourself down. Because when we put ourselves down, we increase the hurt.
Yeah. So Lee, what's something that you're really looking forward to at the moment in your life?
Well, I have a new challenge. I get to tell my 2 new sons that I'm going to be their foster parent on Monday. And that is a big deal for me.
That's this coming Monday?
This coming Monday, yes.
Wow, mate, that is just awesome.
They've been coming out to me under the guise of work experience for the last 6 months or so, once a week. Come and doing stuff on the farm, adventurous things that boys like to do, getting dirty, having a good time. And I think we've developed a rapport over time. And I thought, well, I think I can do more with these boys if I've got them a bit more often.
Yeah, that's great. Hey Lee, for people out there that do either have young teenage boys or girls, and someone that's actually out there that has a moment with a young person, what would you say would be one of the most encouraging things that someone could say to a young person today? Is it something like, I believe in you? Or is it something like, you can be the greatest version of yourself today? Or is it something like, you're accepted or you're loved? If there was a one-line statement for every single young kid that you've educated over the last 40 years that you think this one line could have actually changed their life, what would a one line be to really help people out there that are exposed to young people?
You can do it. Yeah. Because they can. It's just getting that confidence to take that next step and have a go. Often it's just they're reluctant to try, so therefore they never get any further. You know, just being frightened of failure, you know, you can do it, have a go.
You can do it. Have a go. You heard it here from Lee Barker here, our 40-year veteran of still being passionate about educating the next generation. Hey, Lee, what's something you love doing in your spare time? Is it working on your farm?
Oh, I love the farm, but I do actually, I'm a bit of a closet painter, and I do a little bit of arty stuff as well.
Very good. Hey, Lee, again, thank you so much for joining us here on the Celebrity Authority Show. But before you go, we have this little tradition that we do ask every single guest that comes on, and it's called the 10 questions in 60-second challenge. Lee Barker, do you accept the challenge?
Oh, yeah.
All right, Lee, your time starts now. Favourite colour?
Blue.
Favourite food?
Lasagna.
Lasagna. Is that mum's best
Yeah,
home
mum's
cooked
been
lasagna? Favourite celebrity?
Oh, Malcolm Turnbull.
Malcolm Turnbull. Really? There you go. Favourite actor?
Oh, everybody tells me I'm stupid, but I do like Cruise.
Tom Cruise, yeah. Come on. Favourite professional speaker?
You.
Thank you. Favourite book?
Oh, the one I'm reading at the moment, which is short stories by Lee Child.
Lee Child. What's it called?
It's his collected stories.
Yeah, great. Is he Australian?
No, he's
American.
US.
Yeah, okay. Favourite movie?
Ooh, I do watch a lot of. I don't mind movies. The one that affected me most, maybe. I don't like horror.
Come on, your clock is ticking. You've got to pick one. Favourite movie? Just pick the first one.
Rain Man. I like
Rain
that
Man.
one.
Oh, great movie. Favourite city?
Brisbane.
Favourite drink?
Vodka.
Favourite pizza topping?
Pepperoni.
And Lee Barker, if you could be an animal, which animal would you be?
It'd have to be a dog because my favourite little mate's Buzz, the dog.
That's great. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Lee Barker for joining us here at the Celebrity Authority Show. We'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Sam.
Our next TENx speaker has worked in the health industry as a chiropractor for 17 years and is passionate in men's mental health. He is the founder of Momentum Revolution. His vision and desire is to change men's lives, stems from his own personal experience, suffering childhood trauma, PTSD, then living with depression for 30 years. He is a qualified life coach and studied extensively in personal development and emotional well-being. He mentors and now runs workshops for men, allowing them in a safe and powerful space to deal with issues that they may be holding them back in life. Would you please give a massive, warm welcome to the man of the moment, Brett Dellar.
Thanks, mate. As you know, most of you know, men can do some pretty silly, crazy, and sometimes stupid things. And it's like we catch a virus, and I call it dumb shititis. We do these silly things, but why? I think sometimes it's to challenge ourselves, sometimes to dare, or even a rite of passage. But I think on occasions, it's just to try and feel something different because we have this pain inside. Now, we've all done stupid things at times, maybe not as crazy as these guys. But I look back at what I've done in the past and I think, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have done that. And I've jumped off cliffs, bridges, I've bungee jumped. But about 10 years ago, I went 25 k's offshore by myself and I went spearfishing. And in front of me, coming towards me, was a 10-foot shark. And it wasn't cute, Shannon. And that particular day, I turned into a squid, except my ink, it wasn't black, it was brown, and it was everywhere, if you know what I mean. And I look back at my youth and I think at times, wow, maybe I've been lucky to survive at times. And I'm sure there's men out there who probably are thinking the same. And when men do dumb stuff, they occasionally lose their lives, and that's a very sad thing, but it's not as sad, and the numbers of men we lose through that compared to suicide doesn't even compare. Do you know that the most common way for a male to die in this country between the ages of 15 and 44 is by their own hand? There's a mental health crisis going on here in Australia. I'm sad to say, but men are leading the charge. It's just not good enough, and I've decided that that has to change. I want to share some Australian stats with you about suicide. We lose 6.5 men every day in this country to suicide, and that's over 2,300 men a year, and that's twice that of the national road toll. What you might not know is for every suicide, there's 30 attempted suicides. That's 72,000 men a year. Scary. And I think one of the main reasons why the suicide and depression rates are so high is society's expectations of men and how we should act and behave, but the definition of what masculinity is. Because we've been told we should be strong and tough and hard and sometimes even violent when it's required. And a lot of us have been raised to believe that we shouldn't show our emotions or our feelings, that we shouldn't ask for help or cry, and we definitely shouldn't ask for directions, right? So how do we cope with these expectations that are thrust upon us? Well, that's simple. We put on a man mask. And a man mask is the face we show to the rest of the world that we're tough and strong and everything's okay. In reality, we're actually struggling with pain, hurt, depression, sometimes even trauma. Are man masks needed? Absolutely. They allow us to survive those traumatic events in our lives, like being bullied, losing a loved one, or having your heart broken. That's just a few. The problem is we don't just suffer from one traumatic event in our life, we suffer from many. And if we're not careful, they'll start to compound on top of each other and make us feel even worse. And what do? Pretend we're okay, continue to wear a man mask, and carry on. We take all that hurt, that pain, that emotional trauma, we stuff it down as far as we can. We try to ignore it. But if you push on something long enough and hard enough, pretty soon it's going to start to push back. I call that the volcano effect. And what happens is the pressure becomes so much that cracks start to form. And out seeps your emotion in the form of depression or anxiety. Or it simply just explodes. And it explodes through anger, rage, violence, or hate. Either way, it's going to take you down a dark road. But there is hope out there, and there is hope, and I'll share that with you in a few moments. One of the other problems we have when we take all that hurt, that pain, that anger, that we try and stuff it down, like I said, as far as we can, and we don't know how to deal with this pain that builds up inside of us. We're just not sure what to do. So what do we do with that pain and that hurt? We try and numb it. And we numb it any way we know how. Drugs, alcohol, sex, porn, gambling, TV, video games. Or we simply just withdraw from our family, from our friends, and we just shut down emotionally. You may know someone who's struggling. So I'd like to share a bit of my story. Me, age 5. About 6 months after this photo was taken, when I was young, cute, innocent, and a bit of a ratbag, our family was transferred to a small country town. About 6 months later, I was sexually abused by a neighbour. Now, I can't remember his name or his face, but I have an image of him. I remember he had pictures of cars on his wall. I remember the texture of his bedspread. It creeps me. I don't remember what he said to me, but I know if I told anyone, I was in trouble. But I remember exactly what he did. I remember exactly how he made me feel. And I felt guilt, shame, and embarrassment. The great thing about the brain is that when you're that young, you can't deal with that sort of trauma, so it actually locks it down until you are. And about 14 years later, all that trauma and pain came bouncing back at me. And I look back at my youth and my past and I went, why didn't you say something or do something? And of course, little Brett's like, I did something naughty, I was bad, it was my fault, I felt dirty. So I blame myself for what happened. And on top of that, I felt fear of what people might say, think, or do if they found out the truth. So at the age of 20, I put on my first man mask and I pretended I was okay and strong, and I lived like that for the next 30 years with nothing but depression. I felt like a failure and I felt like a fraud. I lived like that up until about 2 years ago. And then something changed. A conversation. A friend of mine said to me, Brett, mate, aren't you sick of, living with this pain and this fear all the time? Yep. He said, mate, aren't you sick of living with depression? Yep. Don't you think you should do something about it? Yep. Then he said 2 simple words to me. It's time. In that moment, everything changed. I made a decision that I wasn't going to let myself live with that shame, guilt, embarrassment anymore. And I wasn't going to let some asshole from my past control my life. So I went and did a workshop, a course, and it allowed me to remove my man mask for the first time in my life in a safe environment, in a really powerful and positive way. I got to deal with my shit. I've got to tell you, it was absolutely liberating, and I got complete emotional freedom for the first time in my life. And since then on my journey, I've realised that no man should have to live like that, with depression and pain and just struggling to survive. So now I share my story so I can encourage others to share theirs, so they can take their first step in the healing process. I had a man come to me recently and he said, Brett, thanks for sharing. I also suffer from depression, or as my old man says, no you bloody don't. And I know that's a little bit funny because it's a bit dark, but that's the attitude and stigma we have to change. And so what I've done, I've developed a workshop just for men, so they can actually remove their man mask and they can actually take their first step in the healing process and understand what it means to be a man in today's society. Could you imagine a society full of men who are respectful, honest, integral, passionate, authentic, emotionally strong and vulnerable? Oh my God. So if you do know someone who's struggling, I'd like to let you know about these 5 tips that really helped me, and hopefully it'll help them in their first step into their healing process. It can make a big difference. The first thing, you have to make a decision to change. Secondly, you have to make a plan and take action. Third, you have to take action and deal with your shit. You have to set a time frame as well. And fourth, you have to actually ask for help, and men, when it's offered to you, accept the help. And finally, understand that this could be the first step to an amazing journey, which is the rest of your life. So men, by dealing with your shit, you become better men and better fathers. And by being better fathers, you get to pass this knowledge on to your children, which is powerful stuff. Our vision by 2030 is to see communities full of emotionally connected men and to reduce the suicide rates by 25%. So join the Momentum Revolution. Together we can change the world. We can save men's lives, and we can set a foundation so future generations can actually live these happy, fulfilled, and empowered lives. Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you.
Brett Dellar.
Hi guys, Sam Cawthon here, CEO and founder of Speakers Tribe, and I'm super excited about this video. This curriculum video here is all around participate. You know, I believe some of the greatest keynoters on the planet, particularly trainers and facilitators as well, not only do they know how to articulate really effectively, but they know how to facilitate participation. You know, I've been in so many events where I've been up on stage and the audience is very cold. They don't know who I am. They're very skeptical. They're leaning back in their chairs and literally they're about to take their phones out because they're already bored, even before I get up on stage. So really the reality is, as professional speakers, as influencers, what we really need to do is grab their attention instantly. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the 3 ways in how to grab their attention, and not only that, for get them involved, so they're leaning forward, so they're participating, so they're taking part of activities, etc. as well. And that way, from there, I'm actually then going to share with you 3 hacks that you can really start thinking about whether you wanted them to participate in short bursts, such as 5 to 20 seconds, if you want to get them to participate in medium bursts, such as 1 to 3 minutes, or even longer bursts, such as 5 minutes, even up to 20, 45 minutes thereabouts, in activities itself as well. So the reality is that my general rule of thumb is this, is that if you are speaking for over 40 minutes, then you do need an activity. I'll say that again. If you are speaking for over 40 minutes, you do need an activity. So then that means then, if you are doing training or keynoting over 40 minutes, what activities can you do? There's a few rules around this. The first one is this, is lead by example. Now, my encouragement to you, if you haven't already, get your pens and paper out, even your phones out, your notes, and write some of this down, yeah? Number 1 is lead by example. And what we mean by that is, what do you need to do to actually lead by example when you're on stage? You know, it super frustrates me when I see speakers up on stage. They ask for the audience participation, such as put their hand up, but they don't put up their hand themselves. So I believe if you lead from example, then obviously then your audience will then follow suit. So if you want the audience to lean in, you lean in. If you want the audience to participate, you participate. If you want the audience to put their hand up or do an actual action or whatever it is, you must lead by example. And the reality is that they will always do around 70% energy of what you do. So for example, if you do this, your audience will do this. If you do this, they'll do this. If you do this, they'll do that. If you do that, they'll literally just go like that. So my encouragement to you is, would number 1 be always this, lead by example when it does come to any level of participation and interaction. The second thing is this, is framing. You know, I remember this one time where I was speaking in a jail, and it was one of the major jails down there in Tasmania. And one of the most fascinating things is that when you get up there, they don't want to be there. And in most cases, they're talking with each other and they're big built, and it's quite intimidating to say the least. And the last thing you would believe is that if you're speaking for 90 minutes and you think, how can these people here participate here? How can we get them involved? How can we get them to do an activity? And it was certainly very, very difficult. So number 2 here is all about framing. What I needed to do in that particular situation, I needed to frame the importance of why participate. And not only that, I needed to frame that the people that do participate, these are the people that are brave, that are courageous. These are the people that aren't worrying about what other people think. These are the people here that actually really want to get something out of this, want to learn, want to grow. So in most cases, if I frame it in a way that if you don't participate, then you're scared about what other people think of you. If you don't participate, then you're not brave, then you're not courageous. If you don't participate, then you don't want to learn, you don't want to grow. Then suddenly now the audience, in a way, are feeling a bit guilty if they don't participate. Now, this certainly isn't a guilt thing as such, but it certainly is a really great strategy in order to get your audience to participate where they can. And then the third one is this, identify. And what we mean by that is ultimately, if you want your audience to participate, you need to identify what type of audience it is. Ultimately, if I'm speaking to a bunch of young teenagers, then I'm going to identify, great, these here, they want high level, they want high energy, they want to yell, scream, clap, jump on their feet, high five, etc., etc. Whereas if I'm identifying that I'm speaking in front of a group of CEOs and executives, then these people here are not that prone to jump up on their feet and high five and yell and scream, etc. So really what I need to do is I need to identify exactly which audience that I'm in, and that way then I can identify exactly what level of participation that I can expect from that audience. So my encouragement to you is lead from example, frame how you need to get them engaged, and ultimately then identify what do you need to do to understand who is in your audience and what level of activity or participation would they be more comfortable in doing. You know, one of my keynotes, in my Bounce Forward keynote, I get up and I play the guitar. And then at the end of me playing the guitar with only one arm, it's pretty cool. But then I actually then get everyone up on their feet and sing with me. And I remember in most corporate audience, I've led from example. So obviously I sing first and then my audience sing. I then frame to the audience, hey, look, now you're about to jump up on your feet and sing, and this is all about a breakthrough in your own life. And then obviously, you know, I've identified exactly that this is going to be the right audience. But I once did it in front of a group of CEOs and executives, and it did not go down very well at all. I saw half of the room stand up, I saw one or two people sing, and that was about it. And everyone else felt really uncomfortable. Thus, I also then felt uncomfortable as well. All right. So this brings me to my second element in today's masterclass here, all on participate. And it was all around what exactly are the best activities. So I've broken this down into three elements. One is the short, 5 to 20 seconds. The second one is the medium, 1 to 3 minutes. And then the third one here is the long, 3 to 30 minutes plus. So I'm going to unpack all of these as we go along. So the first one here is short, 5 to 20 seconds. My encouragement to you would be to do a short one at least every 20 minutes up to 40 minutes max. And what a short one is could be something like, you know, hands up if, or nod your head if this has happened to you, or turn to the person and give them a high five, or, you know, or look around the room and search for this color, or whatever it is, yeah? So that there's a really, really quick one. So, you know, hands up, or has this ever happened to you? Nod your head if this has, or whatever it is. Or look at the person next to you and repeat after me, or whatever. Yeah, so they're really short exercises. And my encouragement to you would be to get your audience to participate in those in at least every 20 minutes if you're doing a 60-minute keynote. And one of the main reasons is it keeps them awake, keeps them alert. If you're talking for longer than 20 seconds and there's zero interaction, there's zero throwing back to the audience and what is there with them, then ultimately they're going to fall asleep no matter how motivational you might be, or they'll just simply switch off. So that's the first thing. Second thing is this, medium, 1 to 3 minutes. So this is where it is more of an exercise. So this could be something like, okay, stand up and go and high five 3 people. Or it could be something like, you know, stand up if this has ever happened to you, or whatever it might be. Or another one could be something like, turn to the person next to you and ask them this question, bang, bang, bang. I'll give you 90 seconds, yeah? So that is really, really good, quick one. Or the other thing is this, is look around the room and search for anything at all, or what is, or look under your chair and see if you can find. So these are really short ones that, you know, might require just simply standing up or sitting down, talking to the person next to you, but it certainly isn't standing up and walking away from your seat. Because ultimately, no matter how big or small your room is, once you get them to stand up and walk away from their seat, it will take a long time for you to calm them back down, get them back to their seat, sit them back down, grab the energy back in your control, and then start speaking again. So this is still only a medium activity here. I've got a few ones here where I actually get everyone to stand up, everyone turn towards the window, or everyone turn towards one side, put both your hands up in the air very slowly, bring your hands down, and just start massaging the shoulders in front of you. And that particular exercise works really, really well. Most of you guys that have seen me speak, I would have done high five the person next to you. Or alternatively, for those people that have actually come along to boot camp, we did an exercise where we went 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. You know what I'm talking about. So they're always fun as well. And then the other one was obviously your power move. So you stand up and do your power move, yeah? So they're the medium ones. And now the long ones here, so this is anywhere between 5 to 30 minutes. So some really great long exercises that you can get your audience to participate in can be some warm-ups of the room. So what we do in a lot of our boot camps, it's about talking to the person next to you, interview them, and then come up on stage, then actually share with you about this other person that you've just met. Or alternatively, another exercise is go and find someone that actually is the same birthday month as you. Or alternatively, go and find someone who's got the same surname, last letter in, as yours or whatever. So there's a lot of other, so a lot of these activities here could either be group work, or could be working in partnership, or could be to go and find something, yeah? So these are some great activities here. However, again, it is all about those first three elements. Lead by example. You must lead from example. So even if you want to show to the audience how this is done, you bring up an audience member and say, guys, this is how it works. Bang, 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 bang. Did you get that? Let's try again. Come up here on stage, bang, bang. So you lead from example. The second one here is framing. So framing is all specifically around what do you need to do to frame this exercise in a way that it's very, very, very clear to them. It's so clear. So sometimes I would literally go, so guys, what I want you to do right now, I want you to get your phone and I want you to turn it on. That's right, turn it on, unlock it, whatever it is. Now I want you to find your Facebook app. So just go, everyone knows what the Facebook app looks like. So you just find your Facebook app. Now go into your Facebook app. Now right up the top there is a search bar. What I'd like for you to type in there is Speakers Tribe. That's right, and this is how you spell it, SPEAKERS space tribe, TRIBE, Speakers Tribe, and then global, GLOB, etc., etc. So this way I'm literally teaching them how to do it, and then I then say, now like that page. Now how you like the page, it's just there on the top, a little bit to the side, just simply like that. That is a great way how we can stay in contact with you. Instead of me saying something like, so guys, what I want everyone to do, go onto Facebook and go onto our page and just like the page. They're not going to do it. They will not do it. So my greatest encouragement to you would be lead by example, always frame the actual activity, explain in absolute detail, and ultimately really identify who is your market and make sure you're communicating in their language. Guys, I really hope that today's curriculum video really gave you value. And please, my encouragement to you would be to go out there and actually try it out, because you're not going to learn anything unless you actually don't implement something like this. So go out there and implement it where you can. For those people that are actually joining Speakers Tribe for the very first time, I wanted to say welcome. It is great to see you. For those leaders that are here in the room, I wanted to say thank you so much for leading your awesome tribe. You're doing an outstanding job. And also, for those people that haven't registered into Speakers Tribe Conference, my encouragement to you is to lean into this proximity. See what you need to do to say, hey, look, I want to be a part of this movement. We believe that we are the incubator for the next generation of influencers in this world. And ultimately here at Speakers Tribe, we're all about helping you make a difference in the world. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what's possible in the next chapter with you once you lean into Speakers Tribe. And as always, don't forget, the best is yet to come. I'll see you soon.
I joined Speakers Institute because I'm about to take my career to the next level. Came along hoping to get clarity of my message, because at the end of the day we all know what we want to say, but we don't really know how to articulate that. I feel like I've got a lot of clarity moving forward, and it's actually allowed me to even focus on different areas in my message that I can actually expand later on into my business. So thank you so much, Speakers Institute. I changed every single part of my life based on one decision, which was significantly small. It was outside. I changed from the outside in. What is it that is holding you back in your life that you could make one small change and change everything? Think about that.
Hear your story and the things that you've been able to overcome, and also knowing now the difference that you're making in other people's lives is really, truly inspiring.
Thank you.
So I'm glad you chose to be the person that you are.
Hey
guys, thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode here at Speakers TV. My name is Sam Cawthorn and we are super excited about Speakers TV and about these episodes that we bring to you every single weekday as well as also on every single Saturday. Guys, we'd love to hear from you. If you've got any feedback at all for us, or maybe you want to comment right now in the chat bar about what was your biggest takeaway from today's session. But also not only that, why don't you join us? So here at Speakers Institute, we do have a number of programs such as our online boot camps or our protege program. At Speakers Tribe here, we're all about running these big, large annual conferences every year, but also not only that, there is an annual membership that you can get where in your city we do have tribe gatherings, all really encouraging you going from where you are today to where you really want to be. Or maybe you want to tell your friends and your family about Speakers TV. But can I please encourage you, why don't you like this page? Why don't you join us each day? Why don't you tell other people about these episodes? Because we are all about really helping you on this journey to becoming that recognized voice of authority, for you to find your message and your story and get that out there into the world. We are super excited about your journey, so please lean in and join us today. To your success, my name is Sam Cawthorn, and don't forget, the best is yet to come.